Okay, hello everybody. So this evening, Andre has very kindly prepared a presentation and explanation about kanji. So we'll see that first, and then we'll do some translation of the ZNKR document thingy, and we will do some listening to Miku Sensei for her journey in Koyasan. And then that should bring us nicely to the end to Rieko and Kenji. Okay, over to Andre. Thank you, Andre. Let's have a round of applause for Andre. You can unmute yourselves, guys. Otherwise, it's the quietest round of applause ever.
So, can you see this?
Yes. Yes.
Yes.
Okay. Okay. How do I get full screen? I have all this thing in
presentation. That's it. That's the one. If you
presentation or Kaishi.
Yeah, that's the one.
So, welcome to the first test run of Andy's Kanji Corner. So I'm here today to torture your soul, every single one of you. Just joking. I try to make your life easier with kanji. So what I'm doing today is I'm going to throw you many examples of kanji, but don't worry about it. Many of the kanji, many of the words you have already learned them in the previous sessions. So it's like I'm trying to expand your existing knowledge. So you don't have to write down anything for now. So I'm going to post this slide. I'm going to upload these slides. So you can just sit back, relax, and hear what I have to say while I torture your soul, of course. So I'm going to tell you some statistics and some interesting facts about kanjis and why do we need to learn them. And then I'm going to tell you something about onyomi and kunyomi, like what are those and what the fuck are they? And how do you read them? And then with different examples. And then I'm going to show you how to use a kanji dictionary. And then I'm going to show you like how to interpret or how to guess a kanji character if you don't know it. And then I'm going to show you some interesting applications of kanji. So let's start with numbers. So how many kanjis are there? So according to the Agency for Cultural Affairs, there are 33,300,134 kanjis. And that's really, really a lot. And I have no idea how they get this number. And maybe a lot of them are just different variations of the same kanjis. So it's really a lot. And I don't think anyone can learn all 33 millions of kanji in their lifetime. But of course, you can try. Yes.
Sorry, Andre, is this the Chinese Agency of Cultural Affairs?
It's the Japanese agency.
Oh,
Japanese
really?
agency.
Wow.
Yes.
Right.
And I really have no idea how they get this number. That's really big number.
Yeah.
Perhaps they count every single reading?
I don't know. I think they have they got this number from a collection of a number of collection of books, and I have to check it. And that's the number they have. It's really big. So how many kanjis you should learn? So according to the Japanese Cabinet Office, there is a list of common kanjis, and there are 2,136 of them. And theoretically, if you have learned all these 2,133 kanjis, you should be able to understand 99% of a Japanese newspaper or Toramonomaki. And you just have to guess the remaining 1%. And something for your information, the Japanese elementary school teaches 1006 kanjis. And you can set this as your goal for the next 6 years. So you can learn like 1000 kanji for the next 6 years. And it's not really much. And for your reference, a Taiwanese person knows 4,800 Chinese characters. Like Wayne knows more than 4,800 kanjis. And the Korean school teaches like 1,800 hanja. So I was told by my Korean friend that you should, in Korea, you should know some kanjis and able to read a Korean newspaper. So what do we know about kanjis? So many kanjis have multiple readings. So the Chinese reading, or onyomi, and the Japanese reading, or kunyomi. And this is why it makes your life so miserable. So the Chinese reading does not sound like modern Chinese language. I mean the Mandarin. And because the Chinese reading, or onyomi, it was based on ancient Chinese phonetics. And these ancient phonetics are actually, well, many of them, they are preserved in southeastern Chinese dialects. So the onyomi sounds rather similar to the southeastern Chinese dialect. And I can show you some examples. I have three. I'm going to read it in onyomi, and then followed by the Cantonese dialect, like the Hong Kong dialect. And then the last one is Mandarin. So you can hear the difference. Okay, let me start with the first one. I'll say it's economic, 経済, 经济, 经济. So you have an idea. And dokugan, which means single-eyed. Dokugan, 獨眼, 獨眼. And the last one is like dokusho, which means book reading. Okay. Dokusho, 讀書, 讀書. And you can hear that Mandarin, as you have to roll your tongues to speak Mandarin. And it's like, I think they have Mongolian and Manchurian influences. So it sounds like a barbarian language, like barbar. So a kanji or a kanji compound word may have a different meaning in Chinese language. For example, like 娘, daughter, and in Chinese it means mother. And 勉強する, to study, it means to, in Chinese it means to force someone to do something. And yeah, to force someone to study.
That's what teachers do.
Yes, of course. And 大丈夫, everything is okay. And in Chinese, it means big husband or great husband.
Yeah.
And sensei, teacher or master, in Chinese, it means husband or mister. So please don't write Chinese kanji to your Chinese friends, and vice versa. And for example, if you write 大丈夫 to your female friend in Beijing, and then it means big husband, and then she might think you have an affair with her husband. And think twice before you put on a kanji tattoo on your body, because sometimes it has a different meaning in other language. And a kanji character may have several variations. And for example, this is the kanji for the number of 1. It's very simple. And these are the same kanji, but different variations. And this is an old kanji. And this one is the simplified version of this one. And you will see this one in like that Japanese legal document. And that's the number of 1. And this one, that's the kanji for dragon. And this is the old kanji. And this one is the one that is used in modern Japanese language. And when I say old kanji, like this one and this one, it means it's not used normally today in Japanese language. And you might see them in personal names, like this one, like it's Ichi, like Kusama Sensei's old name, Jun Ichi. And before this was the old one. Like I think he has changed his name. His name now is something else, but the same pronunciation. And this is a category of Japanese-made compound words, or wasei kango. So in 19th century, the Westerners, they have brought books and ideas to Japan. And there are new vocabularies like economic freedom and democracy or something like that. And they didn't have the corresponding words for these new vocabularies. Like there is no such thing as freedom and democracy in the Chinese dictionary. So the Japanese translators, they have to create new compound words using existing kanji characters. So they have jiu for freedom, minshu for democracy, keisai for economic, and kokubokan for aircraft carriers. And later, these translations were adopted by Chinese translators, and they are incorporated into the modern Chinese language. And there's also another category of kanji which they share the same writing as in Chinese language. Isu for chair, shujutsu for operation, and ichiba for market. And that means if you write any of these compound words to your Chinese friends, and they should be able to understand it perfectly. So if I write something like, hey, Wayne, there is no minshu in Hong Kong, and he knows what the fuck I'm talking about.
Hey,
How
Wayne,
was your shooter?
Would you like an aircraft carrier for your birthday?
How was your shooter last week? Something like this. So why is kanji necessary? Why do we need them? So because a lot of Japanese words have the same pronunciation, but different meanings. And this is my favorite example. So I would need a volunteer to translate a sentence for us. Let me just pick a victim. Okay. Okay. Piotr, please translate this sentence into English or Polish. 記者の記者が記者で記者した。
Are we talking about Polish kisiel?
Japanese
I think
kisha.
so. Like
Japanese
almost
kisha.
all
I have no idea what kisha is, let alone 4 different kisha.
Oh yes.
Wait, give me a second. Let me have a guess. Kisha no. So journalists, steam train, was returning to the office of your shrine now.
Yes, you got 3 of them.
Mm.
Oh wow.
That's really good, really good. So okay, let me put them into kanji first. Okay, that's
Actually,
good. That's
I'd have thought that the answer was really obvious. I think it says the Kisha's Kisha did Kisha by Kisha. That's right,
yes,
isn't it?
yes.
Yeah.
That's what it means. But if I put it into a logical sentence, it looks something like this.
Yeah.
And here's the translation. So the first kisha is pure honorable company, and the second one is journalist. The third one is steam train, and the final one is a verb, kisha suru, go back to the office. So the sentence is like this: the journalist of your company has returned to the office by train. 記者の記者が記者で記者した。And let me talk something about onyomi and kunyomi readings and how are they used in kanji. So let's start with manyogana. Manyogana. So it was an ancient writing system that employs phonetics of Chinese characters to represent the spoken Japanese language. Oh, by the way, this was before the invention of katakana and hiragana.
Mhm.
So they would use kanji to represent every of the Japanese syllables, like a, I, u, e, u, ka, ki, ku, ke, ko. So each one of them has a kanji for it.
Yeah.
And a paragraph of manyogana looks like this. So how do you read this thing? Well, you don't have to, don't look at its actual meaning. So actually, let me read it for you. Mukashi mukashi, aru tokoro ni oji-san to oba-san ga sunde imashita. So it's actually a very simple paragraph. That's a long time ago, somewhere lived a old man and a old woman, or something like that. And you can see something like this is not very efficient because the actual word has no meaning. I have to read it out first and then convert the phonetics into meaningful Japanese sentence. Well, that was in the ancient time, thousands of years ago.
Sorry, Wayne, which way were you reading this?
I'm
Left to right.
using the
From top left or
onyomi, the
top
Chinese.
right?
Left to right, wasn't it?
Okay,
You do
left
it
to
from-
right, yes.
Yes, okay. Thank you.
Mukashi mukashi aru tokoro ni blah 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 blah. Oji-san
okay.
to
Good.
oba-san ga sun de imashita.
So basically, this is still as efficient as in kana, just more complicated per sign, per character. Yeah.
That's
Writing.
more complicated to read, yes. And the kanji itself has no meaning. The
Purely
meaning
phonetic.
doesn't make sense, yeah.
Yeah.
So the ancient Japanese scholars came up with something. So they decided to take a Chinese word for its actual reading and then combine it together with the Japanese word, the corresponding Japanese word for it. For example, the word mountain, the Chinese word is san for mountain. And then you combine it with the Japanese word, yama, and then you just squeeze them together. So when you read this thing, when you read it with your brain, you read it with the Chinese reading on yomi, so it's san for mountain. And when you actually pronounce it, you say yama, yama. So your Japanese friends that you're talking about mountain. So that's how the kanji works in onyomi and kunyomi. So many Japanese kanjis have both readings. And if a kanji has only the kunyomi or Japanese reading, it means that this character is made in Japan, not made in China. For example, the word ziji, ziji for crossroad or intersection, is a Japanese-made kanji. And just to make your life more miserable, there are 3 different sets of Chinese readings, and they are from different Chinese phonetics. And they are imported to Japan like in 3 different periods of time. So, and then the Japanese people decided to keep all these different phonetics together. So that's why it's the readings can be so difficult. And so the first set is go on. It means Wu phonetics. So it comes from the region of Wu, and it was brought by the Korean traders during 3rd to 5th century. So here's a map of East Asia. Here's the Japanese island, and here's the modern day China. So the kingdom of Wu, the ancient kingdom of Wu, is around the region in Shanghai. And that was around the 3rd to 5th century. So you might have this question, why they would import the language from this region and not from this region, like the northern part of China. And that's because there was a period of time where the northern part of China was occupied by nomadic tribes. And the teaching of Confucianism says barbarians are culturally inferior. So don't learn anything from the barbarians. Learn it from the Chinese. So that's why they would try to import stuff from the southern part of China, especially from the Wu region. So that was the Go-on. And Kan-on, it was the phonetics of the Tang, Empire of Tang. And the Empire of Tang, it was a very powerful Chinese dynasty around 7th to 9th centuries. So Japan would send students overseas to the capital city of Tang to learn stuff. So they learned like everything from the Tang Empire of Tang, like language, politics, military, swordsmiths, architectures. So the capital of Tang, Chang'an or Chou'an, if I say it in Japanese, it's right here in near the modern day of Xi'an. That's where you can see the terracotta warriors. So that's the ancient capital of the Tang Empire. And then we have the third phonetic. It's called To-on, the phonetics of To. So it was like the South Chinese dialect, and the transmission happened like after the 11th century, and it was brought by monks, traders, and scholars. And many of them fled from China to Japan because people tried to run away from Mongolian and Manchurian invasions, to run away from the barbarians. And they brought their phonetics with them to Japan. And Go-on and Kan-on, they are taught in Japanese school, and usually To-on is not taught unless you are studying sinology in the university. And that's the map. And here's the important question. How do we figure out the correct reading or the correct pronunciation? I can tell you this is no black and white rules. You just have to figure out yourself. And it depends on your personal experience or personal knowledge So this is no simple way. You just have to learn for your experience. That's something I can say. And I can show you some examples, and maybe you can figure out a pattern. So first is the compound words with Japanese reading, like uketsuke, like reception, and it's pure Japanese reading. And there are compound words with Chinese reading, like Zen Nihon Kendo Renmei. You all know this word already, like All Japan Kendo Federation. And it's like a compound word of compound words, like Nihon, Kendo, Renmei, they're all compound words. So the rule of thumb is the more kanji character a compound word has, the more likely you should use the Chinese reading. So it's more, so it's simply, it's simple that way. And you don't want to read it in Japanese reading, trust me. It sounds like Zen Hinomoto no Tsurugi no Michi no Renmei or something like that. It just sounds funny. And here are some examples of compound words with a combination of both readings, like Iaido. Ei is actually a Japanese reading, like iru, to be, and au, to meet. And do is the Chinese word for the way. And umeshu, plum wine. Ume is the Japanese word for plum, and shu is the Chinese word for alcohol. And sometimes a compound word can have foreign readings, like biru, and it has kanji, and it says bakushu, bakushu. It means wheat alcohol. So when you actually see this kanji, you will say biru. Or you can say bakushu, of course. And sometimes
Mugisake, right, Andre?
Mugisake. Mugisake. I never heard people saying Mugisake.
I'm sure, but that's the pure Japanese reading, isn't it?
That's
a
pure Japanese reading.
Yeah,
Mugisake, yes.
Mugisake.
But usually it's pronounced like bakushu.
Bakushu.
I don't know why. I don't know why not Mugisake.
Yeah.
I have no idea.
So if you would use bakushu, they would understand, or is it just also used as an?
It's also used there.
Okay.
Yeah. But you should say biru, but because I don't think every Japanese person would know the word bakushu. It's not as commonly used as biru. They just say biru. If you say bakushu, they think you are like an old geek or something. Or you are speaking you're trying to not to say the kiseigo. Like if you around like in 1944 or 1945, like you are not supposed to use foreign words because it's the language of the enemy. So if you are in 1944, 1945, you should say bakushu. If you say biru, and a military police will come and get you, something like that. So sometimes the meaning of a kanji can change with the reading, like this one over here. If you use the Japanese reading, naka, it means inside of something, like kono hako no naka, inside this box, so kono hako no naka. Or you can use the Chinese reading, chu or ju, then it's like a suffix of something. That means in the duration of something, blah, blah, blah. Like this one, zenshin chu, while moving forward. If you read the Iaido Japanese manual, then you will see this word a lot. And sometimes you can use both readings, like the superlative form of tallest. And Andy-san has taught us to use the Chinese reading, which is Saiko, the most tallest. But of course, you can also use the Japanese reading, which is Mottomo takai, and the meaning is exactly the same, I should say. So if I say Kim is the tallest person, Kim-san wa sei ga saiko desu. Or you can say Kim-san wa sei ga mottomo takai desu. So same meaning, same kanji, but different pronunciations. And okay, I can tell you this. So it's based on my experience. If you are able to use the Chinese reading, then the level of the language goes slightly higher than the Japanese reading. So if I say Mottomo takai, it sounds like a children's language. If I say Saiko, then it sounds like language for grown-ups, for adults.
Yeah.
So it's like a personal feeling. Maybe I don't know. I don't know if Andy-san feels the same way.
Yeah, exactly. So, for example, something shiteru aida ni is a really long way of saying while doing in the middle of doing this, whereas most adults say something saichu, right in the middle of
yes.
Yeah, I hear that more and more from teachers saying this. Yeah.
And here are some iaido examples. And this is one of the koryu kata if you are Jikiden or Shinden people. So we are Jikiden, we say zure tachi, which is the Japanese reading. And some Shinden people like Andy, they would say rentatsu, that's Chinese reading. Well, the reading, it can depend on your sensei or your ryuha. And another one is kaewaza. It has two different written variations. It can be this one or this one. My iaido teacher, Omi Sensei, he uses this one, and he uses the Chinese reading, and he would say kangyo instead of kaewaza. So it's something that depends on your teacher or your ryuha.
Yeah, Andre, do those two kaiwaza, do these initial characters mean something substantially different from each other?
Well, they both means to change. The first one it means to replace, and the second one means to change, but they have the same pronunciation. Kaeru.
Right.
Yeah, and sometimes the Japanese people, they are not consistent with their writings. So in some book you will see this version. Kaiwaza. In some book you will see this version. So that's something. So especially in older books, that the writings are not consistent.
Yeah. Thank you.
That's why. Yeah. More examples, and I will show you how to convert something into classical Japanese, and then you can show off to your Japanese friends. So kendo, we usually say with the Chinese reading, kendo, and when we say that, we mean kendo as a Budo discipline. But I can say it in Japanese reading, it's Tsurugi no Michi. It means the way of the sword, and it sounds like classical Japanese. And Tsurugi is a very old Japanese word for sword. And the second example, Nipponkoku, the country of Japan. And normally we say it in Chinese reading, Nipponkoku. But when you say it in Japanese reading, it's Hinomoto no kuni. Hinomoto no kuni. It means land of the rising sun, and it's classical Japanese.
So,
And
Andre,
yes,
so I noticed that in the Japanese reading, you
Yes.
you add no between each and every word.
yes, that's the rule. In Japanese language, you have to add no manually between nouns. Tsurugi no ichi.
So
Tsurugi no
is it you don't write it, but it's implied that it is there?
You don't write it, but it's there. Or you can
Okay.
write it, of course.
Okay.
You can with and or without both. Okay.
So the
And
way it's
so-
written here, it would be read with the no.
Yes, if you
Okay.
say it with Japanese reading. And sometimes if you read classical Japanese, written classical Japanese, or classical Japanese, sometimes it's written in classical Chinese, and you just have to manually add the particles like o, no, ni. Well, it's very complicated. I can start a section like talking about classical Japanese, and it will take like 2 hours.
Cool. Thank you very much.
Yeah. You're welcome. So if you have any questions, feel free to stop and ask something. So I'm going to show you how your brain can process 4 different readings of the same kanji in one single sentence. So December 3rd is a public holiday and Sunday. So how do we say that in Japanese? Any volunteers? It's not difficult. There's nothing tricky.
12月3日は祝日
Yes, public holiday is 祝日。
日曜日です。
12月3日
Yes,
は
yes.
祝日と日曜日です。
Oh, yes, perfect. 12月3日は祝日。I use day, but you can use to, of course. It's perfect. 祝日で日曜日です。So when I write this sentence in kanji, it looks like this. 12月3日は祝日で日曜日です。So you see the same kanji appears 4 times, and each one has different readings. And it works like this. Ka and bi are Japanese readings. Jitsu is kan on. Nichi is go on. So your brain can automatically determine the correct reading without knowing all this shit. Isn't it wonderful? これは素晴らしいではないでしょうか。
ではないです。できないからではないです。
So this is what the kanjis can make your life really, really miserable, like kanji in personal names. So it's really pain. It can be a really pain in the ass. And because Japanese names have often irregular readings, and they can have pure Japanese reading or a combination of both. Like for example, Oshita Sensei has a name of pure Japanese reading, Oshita Masakazu. And okay, Ishito Kotaro Sensei has a combination of both. Like Kotaro, it's Chinese reading. And if it's a Chinese name, then you should use only the Chinese reading. Like Mao Zedong you should say Mo Takuto, and not Kezawa Higashi. And sometimes the pronunciation, you have no idea that what the correct pronunciation is, and even Japanese people cannot pronounce them 100% correctly. Like when you are in Japan and you have to fill out an application form and you have to write your name, and then you have to write the furigana, so the people will know what's the correct reading. Otherwise, they have no idea. So this is an example. So Hayashi, that's a very typical Japanese family name. But the same kanji, it can also be a very common Chinese name. So if it's a Japanese person, then you should call him Hayashi, Hayashi-san. And then if it's a Chinese person, then you should call him Lin-san, like Jeremy Lin, the basketball player. And these are, and I'm going to show you two Japanese surnames with irregular reading, and they're just like, what the fuck? So this one, it means the 1st of April, like 4月1日. But how do you read this as a Japanese family name? It's watanuki. Watanuki. It means taking off cotton coat. So the logic is like this: like the 1st of April in the past, like few hundred years ago, like it's the 1st of April. I mean, moon calendar is actually June in modern calendar. So the 1st of April, it is the day you should take off your cotton coat because the temperature is getting warmer. So that's the logic. And a second one is, it means small bird playing. Kotori ga asobimasu. Kotori ga asobimasu. Small bird playing. So how do you read this? It's takanashi, which means no hawk. So the logic is like this: hawk is a predator that preys on small birds, and no hawk means no predator. So the small birds can come out and play.
Are these seriously spellings of last names that are read this way?
Yes. If you see a Japanese person like Mr. Small Bird playing, then you should call him Mr. Takanashi. Don't call him Kotori Asobi or something. Kotori Asobi. And same thing as this, Mr. 1st of April, like 4月1日さん.
I mean, in the West, this would just be a joke, right?
Yeah. April Fool's Day. Mr.
Yeah, exactly.
April Fool's Day.
How about Mr. Igarashi?
Igarashi. Oh, that's another.
That's similar, isn't it? Yeah.
Yes, another irregular reading. It means 50 storms.
Yeah.
Oh, storm.
50 arashi.
Yeah.
But you say it says 50 storms.
Yeah.
50 arashi, but you say igarashi. I have no idea.
How? My question is how from that they reach there? Like,
So you mean how to determine it's the correct reading? You just have to, if they have the visitor's card, then you have to just to read it. Oh, hi, Mr. Igarashi,
Yeah,
something
so-
like
so
this.
Do Meishi always have furigana?
It should be. Otherwise, they have no idea how to pronounce
Yeah, exactly.
correctly.
I mean,
Yeah.
you can see the kanji and then still go.
Yeah.
I think
Yeah.
it depends how common the name is, doesn't it? If it's a
Yeah,
very
how
common
common.
name, they just have it written in kanji. But
Yeah.
often these days, lots of people have it written on English on the other side anyway.
Yes.
So
Yeah.
a Japanese person might read the English side in order to read the Japanese.
Exactly.
I've heard
they have more-
Ishido Sensei called Sekido Sensei.
Really? Ah,
Yeah,
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 really?
yeah.
ah,
By a
But-
Japanese
Well,
person.
Yeah.
By a Japanese.
right.
Yeah.
So
Interesting.
that they're both Chinese readings of the characters.
Ishi and Seki.
Yeah, yeah.
Interesting. Like I used to know a person, a Japanese person. His name is Yamanami.
Mm.
And he likes he likes to write poems, like traditional poems in Kanbun, and then sometimes he would like us to use the Chinese reading, like San Nan San. Yeah, he would like us to use the Chinese reading. It's like a personal preference. Like the official name is Yamanami, but we can call him San Nan San. That's the idea.
Yeah, I've read of a few historic Japanese people that they reach a certain stage of their life, and then they change the Japanese reading of their first name into the Chinese reading. Like
Yes.
Nakayama Hakudo, he was originally Hiromichi, wasn't he? Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. And
Musashi, of
I think
course.
Musashi, that was Takezo.
Takezo, yeah.
And then Musashi. I think Musashi is also a Japanese reading, because Musashi is the name of the name of an old province.
Right.
Musashi no
Right. Yeah.
Yes, I think that's around the Tokyo area.
But it's the Mu of Bu, isn't it? As in
Yes,
Buddha.
yes.
So that part itself is Chinese, isn't it? The sashi, I'm not sure about.
Ah, yes. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. Anyway.
So here are some kanji dictionaries. You can use AEDIC, of course. It has everything. It has pretty much everything you need. Okay, let me put. So it's AEDIC. Can you see this?
It hasn't flipped across, Andre. I think you need to share your screen. If you stop sharing, then only share screen, not the actual presentation.
So how do we do this?
So do share screen again, and then select the upper left one, which is just share screen. Yeah.
Okay. Can you see this now?
Yes.
Oh, okay. So here's AEDIC. Oh, how do I use this? So you can type in onyomi and kunyomi, okay, and you can type in Romanji or Japanese. So let's see. Let's search the word Kyo for Kyoto, our favorite Japanese city. Okay, I can type in the onyomi, which is Kyoto. This one, that's imperial capital. Okay, let me change to Romanji, so it's easier for some of you to read. So this is how it looks like in AEDIC. So here, the main different meanings: imperial capital city, final words of the Iroha poem. I have no idea. Or it can be 10 quadrillion, like a big, very, very big number. And here is the actual kanji if you click on it. So the important informations you should know. So I would say the radicals. So the radical, it's like the indexing component of the kanji. And it's like the root or stem of a word. And sometimes it tells you the characteristics of the character. So you can guess it. And then here you have the onyomi. It has all the 3 Chinese readings. The kyo, that's the go-on. Ke, it's the kan-on. And king, that's the to-on. And it has 1 kunyomi. Miyako. Nobody uses the kunyomi in modern language, like miyako. It sounds like classical Japanese. And namae, Namai, it means how the kanji would be pronounced if it appears in a person's name. And the pinning, you don't need to know that. You can just cross that one out. It's the Chinese, actual Chinese pronunciation. You don't need that. Just cross that out. So there's something about the radicals. So it tells the radical is this. So it looks like this. And we call it the radical of head. The radical of head. And the head controls the body, just like the capital city controls the country. So that's why it has the head radical. Something like this. So that's how you should use, that's how you can use the edict. And you can see the different examples of the kanji in different compound words, like Miyako, capital city. Like I don't think there's anyone who would use this word use the word Miyako in modern language, unless it's like classical Japanese.
Only Michael Shapansky, I think.
Yes.
Hashino Miyako, no?
Hashino Miyako, yes, it sounds very elegant because it's classical Japanese.
Yeah.
And Kyoke, like Tokyo means Eastern capital. And Kyoto, it means capital city. If you look at the kanji, and Jokyo, Kikyo, and Peking, that's Chinese capital. Taikyo, and Keihan, Kyoto, Osaka region. And some people, it's better to learn the kanji if you have an example or an example in the actual sentence. Like some people learn it efficiency that way. So Eidic has everything you need. So example like Tokyo de no 生活費は高い. The cost of living is very high in Tokyo. True. So let's go back to this slide. So if you can read Japanese and you want to learn more, like the etymology of the character, then you can use Wiktionary. And I'm going to show you how it works. And then I have to share my screen again. So it looks like this. And then you have to type in the Japanese word, like, let's see, kyo. And then it looks like this, like it tells you everything you need, like the radical, how many strokes, and different written variations of the same kanji. And then you can learn how it looks like in ancient Chinese writing and different meanings and all the different pronunciation and all the different kanji compound words. Keika, kikyo, keke, kekyo, keke, kesai, blah, 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 blah. So if you can read Japanese, then you can use this one. So, and then I am going to show you how to read a kanji from its radical, and then you can guess its meaning. So, radical, it's called bushu in Japanese. It's the graphical indexing component of a kanji, and it serves as a classifier in East Asian language. So if you have a paper kanji dictionary, if you want to look for a character, then you have to look for its radical first. And then you look for the actual word within this radical group. So that's if you have a paper dictionary. But nowadays, everything is digital, so you don't have to do that. And sometimes the radical can be the phonetic component of a kanji. But what you should know for now is that the radical tells you the characteristics of a kanji, and then you can guess its meaning. And as an example, I will use the 5 elements to show you how it works. And because many of the kanji have these radicals, and I believe you have already learned them in previous section when we have learned the days of the week: fire, earth, gold, water, and wood, like kayobi, doyobi, kinyobi, suyobi, and mokuyobi. So let's start with gold. Gold. Well, it means gold, but it actually means metal. Metal, because in ancient Chinese it means copper, because our ancestors were taught by ancient aliens to mine the coppers so we can make bronze. So
You too, huh?
this kanji. Yes. So when you see this radical, then it means the kanji, it has something with metal, or it's made of metal. And if you look at this kanji, it looks like the entrance to a mine shaft, and you go in there and you dig up your ores.
Is that what it's actually
So-
from, Andre?
I have no idea, but I'm just using my imagination.
Oh, sure,
so
sure,
it
sure.
looks it looks like an entrance to the mine shaft.
Yeah.
So I'm helping you to see this kanji. So you have to, sometimes you just have to use imaginations, like how it looks like, and then you can learn its meaning quickly. So examples like different parts of the sword, like ziba, kojiri, and habaki, and they all have the radical of gold. So they're all made of metal. So easy, isn't it? And so this is the radical of wood. Actually, it means tree. And when you look at it, it looks like a tree. So when you see this radical as a part of a kanji, then it has something with tree, or it has something with wood, not morning wood. So example, zuka, it has a wood radical because it's made of wood. And mori for forest. And you can see 3 trees make a forest. See how simple it is? So it's so simple. And the radical of water, that's the kanji over here. And when you look at it, it looks like a flow of water or something like that. But when it's written as a radical, as a part of a kanji, it looks like this, like 3 dots. So if a kanji has 3 dots, then it's a water radical, and it has something to do with water, like atatameru, to warm. And you have to think like you need water to warm your sake bottle. And oyogimasu, to swim. And obviously you need water to be able to swim. And the radical of fire, and the kanji, it looks like this. It's like a picture of a burning steak. And it has another variation. It looks like this. It's a 4 dots. It means something burning underneath. So yaku, to grill, and it has a fire radical to the left. And this is niru, to cook. And when you look at the kanji, it looks like a pot, and underneath is a burning fire. So that's how you can use your imagination, combining with the radicals and sense, and then you can guess its meaning.
It's quite that Niru is quite worrying, isn't it, Andre? Because
Niru.
it's a fire beneath the person.
Fire.
This is
Yes,
mono.
it is.
The
Yes,
person.
mono. Yes.
Yeah.
Mono. Yeah.
Ja.
Yes, of course.
The boiling. It's for cannibalism.
Boiling.
It's for
Yeah, it's cannibalism. you're cooking a person.
It is cooking of the nomads there.
yeah.
Yeah.
It all tastes like chicken. It's okay.
Yeah, tastes like chicken. It tastes like chicken. So finally, the radical of earth. So that's how we write earth. And it looks like a cross sticking to the ground. So you need some earth in order to stick your cross. So that's how you can read it. So if you see this radical as a part of a kanji, then it has something to do with earth, like shiro or jo, castle, nijo castle, and obviously you need earth to build a castle. And this one, that's the kanji for kata, yaido kata, and kata means form or shape. And in the past, the people used earth to make a mold, and then they can produce anything with a desired shape. So a kata has a earth radical. That's how it works. So simple is that. And that was the important information I want to tell you. And the next slide is for your entertainment. And the Japanese biker gang, they use kanji like in a very interesting way, like in the ancient Manyo Gana. So they would just put some kanji on the back of the trench coat to express their ideologies or ideas. Like, and it looks very cool with kanji. So how do I read this? So it's the first kanji is I for love, and da is like it's a kind of nets, and like Rashomon from a movie from Kurosawa, and the last two is like buyu for bravery. So how do you read this? Anyway,
I love you.
Yes, I love you. It means I love you.
It's a very deep meaning, I think.
Yeah. And it's another. And here's another example that one of the kanji's cover is yoroshiku. Yoroshiku. Yeah, it's like night, and it's you die, and cool, like
bitter.
painful,
Yeah.
painful, bitter. Yeah, yoroshiku. That's how they play around with kanji.
Yeah.
So in conclusion, so why should we learn kanji? It makes your life easier in learning Japanese, of course. And you can practice calligraphy. It's a very nice hobby to do. And some Budo teachers, like they are also master of calligraphy, and sometimes they would just write some encourage words to their students. Like my teacher Omi Sensei, he's also a master of calligraphy, and sometimes he would just write some words for us as a small gift, which is very nice from a Budo teacher. And sometimes it looks nice with kanji on zekken or nafuda, and that's something I have been doing for my dojo mate in Austria. And because German language names can be very long, and if you want to put it on zekken, and you have to convert them into katakana, and if the name is long, then it's very long, blah, 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 and you have to write it vertically. So if it's a long name, then the characters would be very small, then it's barely visible. So that's something I would do is I would convert their names into kanji if they would like to, and then it looks nicer on the second. And for example, one of my dojo friends, his name is, I'm sorry, Vaga. So how I would do it is first I put it into normal katakana, and then I would convert it into kanji. So the way I would do it is I would use the least amount of kanji if possible. So I would use the baga, and I drop the choombu. I would just use the ba and ga, and sometimes it's easier to do it with onyomi, so I just change it into onyomi, and I pick the kanji, like that sounds like sounds poetic, and then I pick these two, and it looks like a Japanese name, and it looks like it looks nice on second. So that's how I do it, and just for your information. And this is the last slide. If you don't have any questions, and I would finish the presentation with the kanji owaru. Owari, hai, warimasu. Thank you very much.
ありがとうございました。
ありがとう。
素晴らしかった。
どういたしまして。
That was fantastic. Thanks, Andre.
Very
Really
nice.
good. Yeah.
I start drinking wine.
Yes.
Yes,
And I will drink beer.
That's a good idea. I'm going to go and grab myself a drink before we carry on, guys. So I'll be
Sake.
back in a sec.
Baku, how did you say? Baku. Bakushu. No, what was? Baku. Isn't that like the exploding alcohol or something? Do you explode? Like you can.
爆発的な爆臭。
Everything will sound more easy after one bottle of wine. On the second, I'll be fluent in every language. Bottle, not glass.
I'll take you up on that.
And
Yeah.
with the third one, you're a native speaker.
Oh, yes, yes. Ja.
Yeah.
So, Andre, may I ask
Yes.
another question? Yet
Yes.
another question. So, I've got one of these paper kanji dictionaries, and it is
Yes.
divided into sections of radical. But how do you know which part is the radical? Is there a rule for that, or do you just have
Yes.
to know?
Yes, there are some rules, and the example I just showed you, they are easy to pick the different elements. Sometimes it's written on the left side, and sometimes it's written on the top side. Sometimes it's written on the bottom side. You just have to learn more kanjis, and then you can figure out a pattern for yourself.
Because
I would say, yeah.
There's a few things that I've read about learning kanji where the modern experts on kanji reckon that the best thing to do isn't to start learning kanji as it's in the Japanese education system, but to start learning all the radicals first, because it's just much easier to memorize and understand the kanji if you know all the radicals. And the radicals are normally very simple, aren't they, Andre? It's just like 2 or 3 strokes usually.
Yes.
Sometimes, I mean, obviously it depends on the kanji, but yeah, if you use an app called Kanji Study, this allows you to study all of the radicals as an isolated lesson, which I think is probably a good idea. It gives you the building blocks for learning all the kanji after that, doesn't it?
Oh.
Cool. Well, thanks, Andre, again. Really interesting.
You're welcome. It's my pleasure.
Oh, right. Let's go on to let's put some of that kanji knowledge into some action, shall we? So let me just share the screen a second. Where are we? Kim, sorry.
I'm here.
You were pointing to yourself.
Yeah, you were asking where were we?
Oh,
I'm
sorry,
here.
there you are. Sorry, yeah, I can see you now. Yeah, yeah.
It was a
Sorry.
bad joke, sorry.
Kim, look what I'm reduced to today.
Aw. Mine is almost empty.
Okay, give me a second. Oh, actually, that's something I was going to. Yeah, let's look at this a second. So Andre showed me the presentation earlier, and I then came across these really two nice examples. Andre, would you like to talk through these two? It's quite interesting how they're connected, and they share common parts, don't they?
Okay. Isogashi is like
Busy.
it's like busy. Yes, it's busy. And awateru, I would say it's like panicking.
Yeah, yeah.
Panicking. Well, I read it with my my Chinese brain.
Yeah. So they're both quite because this kind of this character on the left is the heart radical, isn't it?
Yes, heart.
On Isogashi. And then this
Yes.
rightmost part, this means both to die and also to forget, doesn't it?
Yes, to die, or
Yeah.
it's like nakusu.
Yeah, yeah.
Nakusu.
So this is
Your
like
heart dies.
Yeah, your mind sort of your mind fails because you're so busy.
Yes.
And then this is kind of repeated here, isn't it, in Awateru, where we've got.
Yes.
Can you talk through it? How this
Okay.
is made?
You have the heart radical, and the right side, I would say that's the phonetic part of the kanji.
Ah.
Phonetic part. So I'm reading it with my Chinese brain. Right. So the phonetic part is, it tells the phonetic part means it tells you the pronunciation.
Right.
Oh.
Right. Ah, okay. Right. Right.
And it means to desert.
Oh, so your mind deserts you.
Yes.
Right. Excuse me. Because these are used these are used interchangeably when talking in Budo, for example, aren't they? That people say don't get busy, and also don't awateru, don't panic, don't do everything at once and end up being in a jumble. So that these are both kind of used in the same way. Okay, so let's just remove the Romaji a second and put that somewhere else. Actually. So this is again part of the Seitei Central Seminar writing thing. And if you want to practice your kanji in hiragana, you can read it from this part. And if you don't know that much, then you can read the Romaji below. So we're going to take turns in translating this. Who is able to read the pure Japanese? Jock and Andre, I'm guessing,
No.
and Effie, Pyeongdong?
The hiragana mainly and some kanji, so not all of them.
Yeah, same.
Okay.
Like the basic kanji bit. Yeah.
Okay. So let's start with Effie then. If you can start from the first sentence.
Should I read it from the Romaji or what should I start?
Well, actually, yeah. I mean, it's a bit silly, isn't it? Kono waza wa nukiuchi desu. So you can just go from there, really.
Okay. So, nuite utsu devanaku. Should I read the nukiuchi as well? Or,
Yeah,
nukiuchi. Yeah, it's in the brackets. Sorry.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry. What am I doing? Reading or translating?
Translating this. Let's do this whole sentence here.
Kono waza wa nukiuchi desu. Nuite utsu devanaku nukiuchi nan desu. So this waza, this I guess kata, this waza is the nukiuchi.
Yeah.
Nuite. What are these? Nuite. Is it like drawing? No.
This is to draw.
Draw. So it was draw. Okay. Utsu, is it like a deflecting?
Hitting.
Like hitting. Ah, utsu. Okay. Devanaku. Devanaku. Nukiuchi nande. So that's not. Wait, Devanaku. That is not what Nukiuchi is. So drawing, hitting is not what Nukiuchi is supposed to be.
Yeah, it's that meaning is almost right. What is that? This is actually one subclause here. Actually, nui te utsu de wa naku, comma. So.
So drawing. Wait, it's not drawing and hitting that is the Nukiuchi.
Yeah, so he means it's not drawing completely and then hitting.
Okay, that is the Nukiuchi. Okay, yeah.
But Nukiuchi numbers, yeah.
Okay. So, but I thought it okay. But it's drawing while hitting.
Yes, it's a kind of combined. Yeah, he means it's a combined connected movement, doesn't he? But it's hitting while drawing.
Sorry, yeah, hitting while drawing. Yeah, sorry.
Yeah, kind of. I mean,
wrong order. Yeah.
I think what he's trying to stress by having te at the end here, it means to complete the draw, for there to be a break, and then for there to be a hit. It's not this, but Nukiuchi means to make this one it's one movement of drawing and hitting in one fluid movement. Yeah. And then Piotr, sore o ishiki shite kudasai.
I'm not sure. So ishiki is so this that is what is ishiki?
So, do you want to look it up? It's really easily, and you can see all the definitions of it then.
Ishiki. Yes. Please become aware of this.
Yes, exactly. Please become aware of this. So this ishiki means to be aware. Ishiki, sort of good. Yeah. Okay, cool. Kim. Oh, Kim, you're always sitting in the wrong place.
Yeah.
It's like you sit at the front of the class and you get all the hard questions thrown at you.
Also, I have to log in later.
Exactly.
5 minutes later.
Do it like I do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Keep it in mind.
Half an hour late. Okay. Shikashi. So there's quite a lot of probably new vocabulary here, so I'll help you through it. Cool. Shikashi just means, it kind of means but or although.
Oh, damn it.
So this Kim, this awatete, have a look up a second.
To become confused.
Yeah, this is this one here that we just looked at. Awateru.
Ah, yes.
To become panic and confused. This means this is the plain form of nukimasho.
To draw.
Yeah, to kind of have this as a volition. Read the rest of it, and you'll actually read the whole sentence. You'll probably understand what he means actually.
とすると自分の左手を切ってしまうことが多い技です。
Yes. So let me help you a little bit, Kim. The last two words, wazades.
Is a technique.
Yes, good, because we can put that at the end. For example, something like it is this technique.
Okay.
And everything before that is basically a modifier, working like an adjective to affect this technique. It's saying what this technique is. So start from here.
Jibun, wasn't that first or something?
That means your own, one's own.
One's own. Hidari, right, is right? No, left. One's left hand. Must cut.
Kitte shimao doesn't mean must cut, but it's to do with cutting.
We'll do the cut.
Yeah. Shimao, do you remember this shimao?
No.
This means to do something with regret. To unfortunately cut.
Oh, that's a pity.
Yes. Oops, I've cut my arm off. That's a pity.
Yeah, but I don't understand what.
Okay. So yeah, this is kind of subclauses inside subclauses. So jibun no te o kitte shimao.
So one's left hand.
Kitte shimao. What could this be?
But regrets.
Only the shimao is regret. It's regrets. It's the kitte, which is the bit you have to translate really.
To cut?
Yes, yes. So to cut one's arm or hand. Koto ga oi. Koto ga oi.
Koto ga
oi. Oi.
Oi. What's oi?
So this was an e adjective.
Many, numerous.
Yes, good.
Koto ga is like experience of to be able
kind of. So putting koto after a verb turns the verb. It's called. It substantiates the verb. It turns the verb basically into a noun. So not this phrase to cut your arm. If you put koto after it, it means the cutting of your arm. So it's turned it into a noun. The cutting of your arm.
And damn it, I don't understand the meaning.
Okay,
of the sentence.
all right. Let's summarize what we've got so far. So jibun no hidari te o kitte shimao koto. So the cutting of your left arm. Ga oi waza. So this is a technique where there are lots of cases of cutting your left arm. So this was numerous cases.
Yes.
Koto ga
But,
oi.
yeah, but like I understand that you cut your arm, but no, it's cutting with your left hand. Oh.
Sure. So now he's said that this is a technique where people have the tendency to cut their left arm or their left hand. Right. Okay.
When they draw their sword.
Yes. Now this might help you to understand what this means. This bit here.
Not shikashi, although confusing.
So for awateru, I would actually translate this as rushing and panicking. But rushing is probably...
if you draw your sword, the sword is not written, but if you draw panic in a hurry or in too quickly.
If you draw your sword hurriedly.
Yeah. Many times you will cut your left arm.
Yeah, exactly. So it's something like there are many cases where you would cut your left arm
in this technique.
Yeah, exactly, in this technique.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So what he's actually saying is this is a technique where if you hurriedly draw the sword, there are many cases where you could cut your left arm. That's how I'd explain it in English. Yeah.
That's a lot better English than mine.
Yeah, I'm just used to doing this. That's all. Nuko to suru. nuko to suru. We will actually do this at some point in the near future, which is like to have nuko or to naru. But nuko to suru, so this is just means the volition of drawing. You
Pull
draw.
out.
Yeah.
Drawing, yeah.
And then to suru means to do something. Yeah, to attempt to try and do something. To try to do something.
To try to do, because of the o, or
The to suru.
the to.
Yeah, nuko means I want to draw. Let's draw. Let's draw. Let's draw. To suru. Let's try and draw quickly. And then this is the result. Yeah. Failed my grading and I can't juggle for the rest of my life.
You can juggle with one hand.
Cool, good. Andre, hidari, was that in a second to make sure I haven't lost anything? Yeah. Hidari te no saibiki ga jubun de nai to hidari te o kirimasu.
Oh, I'm gonna have to mute me.
If you don't perform sayabiki, if you don't perform enough sayabiki with your left hand,
yep,
then you will cut your left hand.
Yes, good. Yeah. When it says te, when he says te, usually he means not just hand, but
Arm.
yeah. So the word for arm is ude, but te can be used to mean this entire range of your hand and wrist and arm. Yeah. It's funny, ude, which literally means arm, is hardly ever used in the manual. They always use te.
So like ashi with leg and foot.
Exactly. Yeah.
Okay.
Exactly this. Yes. Cool.
Could it be that they also mean that while unsheathing, while you do the nuki, while you do the sayabiki, that you might cut your actual arm, if you your actual hand, like if you're holding it wrongly, maybe? Or
this has nothing to do with the Japanese. This is purely from what I know from this explanation. They talk about cutting.
Yeah. Because you will, but maybe when they say that, can it be also that you might cut by accident your hand if you don't hold it? I don't know. No.
Is this an EI question or a Japanese question?
No, just for the Japanese. That is it written also in kanji as te or ude?
Oh, it says te. I mean, nowhere in even though they talk about the arms in the Seitei manual, they never use the word ude. They only use the word te. So it's just like, don't worry about it. Okay. Ashi, this means leg. You never know in the book whether it means the foot or the leg. They just use the word ashi. You have to know from context. Yeah. Okay, Tom. Ikani migite to hidari te o rendo sasuru ka o kangaete kudasai. I'm going to help you here. Ikani doesn't mean with a squid, by the way. This means how. This is a little bit like saying doyatte, but it's a little bit more neater in text than saying doyatte. Ikani.
Okay, then how the right hand and the left hand.
Yep.
Rendo saseru.
Yep.
So
you can look this up. Rendo. Make use of Andre's lesson on how to use a dict.
Operating together?
Yes, cooperating. Saseru?
Saseru was a special form. So suru in the potential?
No. Suru in the potential is dekiru.
Cool. Oh no, it's not again. No, it was the saseru. The causative is seru.
Yeah, no, you said it. It's the.
Seru. Yes, saseru. Yeah, and the other one is rareru.
Yes.
So it's causative.
Yes.
And it's a bit kudasai. So the last part is I think, please.
Yep, good. So please think about this.
So please think about this. So how the right hand and the left hand operate together. Please think about this.
Yeah.
So please think about how the right hand and left hand operate together would be nice.
Exactly. Yes, they cooperate. So saseru, why has he put saseru in there? Why not suru, naru, yoni, tameni? What does it mean, saseru, in this case?
Because the timing of the both hands make it work?
No, I mean just purely from a Japanese grammatical view.
Because because it's easy to allow or to force it, you have to force.
Yeah, it's like
the timing of your right and your left hand.
Yeah, how you make the right hand and left hand cooperate. Please think about this. So saseru means to make somebody or allow somebody. So how
It's
you
confusing
allow.
because you have also the kudasai.
But this is a subclause here. So from here to here, this is a question. Ikani, how? Nikite to idarite o rendo saseru ka. How do you make the left hand and right hand cooperate? This is basically a sentence, a subclause. O kangaete kudasai. So please think about, here we go, how you make the left hand and right hand cooperate. Yeah.
So did they actually make a actual question, a subclause? Because it finishes with ka, so it's like a question, but it's not really.
Think about how you express this in. I'm not sure how you express it in Greek.
Yeah. Yeah.
But the way we'd express it in English is think about, and then here it comes, subclause. How you make the left hand and right hand cooperate. This is a question. How do you make the left hand and right hand cooperate?
Yeah, it is indirect speech, but it's not. But normally you wouldn't actually do the ka intonation, or you wouldn't really ask the question if you would phrase it as indirect speech.
Yeah.
But you did it like it is a question technically.
Yes.
If it finishes. Okay.
Yeah. So you don't actually have to ask that question, but that is basically what the subclause contains. It's asking you to do something, asking you to think about how the left hand and right hand work together. Yeah. Cool. Konstantinka. Oh, I think you might have stood on a landmine as well, Konstantina. Maybe we'll just do up to this first part here.
So, minasan wa midite de katana o nukuto shite shimai gachi desu ka? Until there or so de wanaku? So de wanaku.
Are you just up to that point there?
Okay. So everyone, left hand with the left hand.
Sorry, minasan. So everyone.
See, with the way of the left hand.
Migi.
Yeah, migi, right. Mom, right. Somebody else confused me with the right hand.
It's always your fault, Kim. If in doubt, blame Kim.
It's always Kim's fault. I'm pulling out the katana. To shite shimai. It's the shimao shite shimai.
Good. Yes. Yeah.
Okay.
So ignore this part for a second. But it's this part here that I'd like you to translate first. This is obviously another subclause because Japanese is made up of subclauses. So, minasan wa migite de katana o nuko to shite shimau.
So nuku to shuru to draw, to try to draw.
Yes, exactly.
Okay.
Yeah. The right hand tries to draw.
Without regret.
Well, I mean, this every time we have shite shimau, this basically means that he considers that verb to be a mistake or an accident. This is what you see when you see shimau. Either it means that verb has been completed, or that verb was unintentional. It was an accident, a mistake, something stupid.
So don't do this without drawing too fast.
So
it's not
actually, what this
sounds
is,
bad.
that's okay. What this gachi desu. So if you remove the mas and put gachi, this means tends to. So everyone tends to try to draw.
It's prone to.
Prone to, exactly. Yes, exactly.
Yes.
Yeah.
So everyone tends to try with to draw with the right hand.
Yes, exactly. Okay, Taya. It's the fourth entry on AE Dictive in case you're looking up gachi. そうではなく、左手で抜いていくという使い方をすると、let's just do that part first. Let me help you here. This is, of course, another subclause from there to there. This is just a comment that heads the sentence up, but this is a subclause. Okay, so de wa naku. Okay, I help you. This means so janakute.
That is not it.
Good. So not like that. But darite de nuite iku.
Hidarite de nuite iku.
Hai. Darite de. So what does de? What does the particle de mean in this particular case? Watashi wa densha de Tokyo ni ikimashita.
With the left hand. I go and draw with the left hand.
Yeah, this is. I think this is Kusama Sensei's slight idiomatic way of sometimes saying this. He says nuiteiku and kiteiku quite a lot. Yeah, go to draw. Toyu tsukaikata o suru to. So this toyu, this really just describes this previous thing.
Or...
Yeah, kind of. It basically makes it a modifier for tsukaikata. What does tsukaikata mean?
Way of using.
Yes, exactly. Yeah. O suru to. Yeah, this is also not particularly easy to translate directly. This basically means if you do this.
Yeah.
So all of this osuruto, this is referring to everything there. So it means if you do it, use the sword as if you're drawing with the left hand. Then, yeah. Sorry, it's not the easiest thing to translate.
It's really difficult to.
Yeah, I know.
Make any sensible sentences.
Yeah, it's Kusama Sensei. Jock, mihaba de nukeru you ni narimasu.
Try to draw within your body width.
Yes.
Or it should become drawing within your body width.
Yeah, so let me just write this. You will be able to draw within your body width. So this is the
mihaba.
Yeah. This is a nice grammatical thing where we've got both your ni, sorry, that should be your without changing it. Your I don't want it to look like you. Let's do it your ni naru and your ni suru. So this means nukeru yoni, so be able to draw. You will change to doing this, as you will change to being able to draw within your body width. So this is a bit of a callback to tamini and yoni. If this verb here is in the ability, if it's a potential verb, then you can't use tamini. Tamini doesn't mean anything. You just put your ni nanimasu. You will become able to draw within your body width. Whew. He's not the
Sorry,
easiest
Andy.
person to translate for. Yes, Constantine.
We didn't translate the show the Wanaku.
Didn't we? Not like that.
Not like.
Yeah. Okay. Should we finish off with a bit of Kenji Ryoko? Coming up, I want some more enthusiasm, guys.
Yes!
Yes, please.
Okay. Right, let's stop.
Some easy stuff, please.
I'm not. I can't promise everything. Right, give me a second.
Yeah, something like that.
Was that Pavlov's dog then, Piotr?
I'm drooling already.
Okay, let's move on from there.
That's how Andy wants us to be, Piotr. Like to really for the cliffhangers. He really wants us to look.
Okay, so they arrived at the place at the bar in Gion, where some Michael-sans are known to just model their dresses, and they arrived there and Ryoko said, yeah, there's 5 of them that aren't they wearing beautiful kimonos? Those geisha. Right. Who's going to be? I think I might get you two of you to do this now. So Andre, you can be. And then he said Ryoko. Then you can be him, Kenji, and Effie. You can be Ryoko to get us warmed up and get us in the mood. Just a second. Effie.
And then once you're finally warm, he goes, "Oh, I'm sorry, it's time." Oh,
Hot and cold. It's really bad.
He just plays with us.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, suffering. Nice.
Yeah.
So a little bit of context because I wasn't here last Sunday.
So they've traveled to Gion in the evening, which is like the old samurai district of Kyoto, and there's a place where you can go where you can see trainee geishas standing in their dresses, and you just go and take photographs of them. So they stand in front of this bar down this dark alleyway, and they've just arrived there to have a look. And then after this, they're going for dinner in Gion in this samurai district. Oh.
I'll tell you more details because he doesn't say everything.
Yeah.
You're writing everything down.
Okay, Andre-san, dozo.
Can I use my anime voice?
You're Kenji though. You're not Ryoko. You would be talking like this.
Yeah.
共同で芸者というの代わりに芸妓と言います。芸者は東京の呼び方がだと読みました。ほら。
That's off script.
本当ですか？知りませんでした。でも本来は芸者というものが男の仕事でしたよ。
本当ですか。そんな着物も着ていましたか？
やめてよ。
やめてよ。
変態。
Okay, how did that go for you guys? 0 to 50? Absolute 0? Absolute 0? Good. Okay, maybe we'll just speak in a little bit more easy to understand tone, shall we? Just a little bit slower, guys. はい、どうぞ。
共同で芸者というの代わりに芸妓と言います。芸者は東京の呼び方だと読みました。
本当ですか？知りませんでした。でも、本来は芸者というのものが男の仕事でしたよ。
本当ですか？そんな着物も着ていましたか？
やめてよ。
Where's Kim gone? Oh, there he is. Okay. Did you
Joseph is having a breakdown.
My daughter was saying good night, so
okay,
she
okay.
wanted to come in the screen.
Oh, she can. Okay. Last time, guys. This time, the same speed as what you just did. Actually, that was really good speed to understand it.
京都で芸者というの代わりに芸妓と言います。芸者は東京の呼び方だと読みました。
本当ですか？知りませんでした。でも、本来は芸者というのものが男の仕事でしたよ。
本当ですか？そんな着物も着ていましたか？
やめてよ。
You speak, Taya?
There's no other way to say this. やめてよ. Sorry, guys.
やめてよ! Cool. Let's quickly put this on the screen. Okay, one more time, guys. You can do this at normal speed, and then people can read while they're... Sorry about the spelling mistakes. I just had to do it quickly this evening. はい、どうぞ。
京都で芸者というの代わりに芸妓と言います。芸者は東京の呼び方だと読みました。
本当ですか？知りませんでした。でも、本来は芸者というのものが男の仕事でしたよ。
本当ですか？そんな着物も着ていましたか？
やめてよ。
やめてよ! Okay, ナスカ。京都で芸者というの代わりに芸妓と言います。
I don't understand代わり。
This means instead of, alternatively. Instead
in
of.
Kyoto, instead of the term geisha, they say geiko.
Good. Excellent. Excellent. And then, Yosef, geisha wa Tokyo no yobikata da to yobimashita.
I have read that the pronunciation geisha is from Tokyo.
Geisha is from Tokyo. Very good. Anika, honto desu ka? Shirimasen deshita. Demo, honrai wa geisha toいうものが男の仕事でしたよ. Let's do this part first, actually, Anika. Then there should be a T in here. Sorry. Honto desu ka? Shirimasen deshita.
Is that so? Shirimasen deshita. It's the negative and the past from shiru.
Shiru, yeah. Which means to know. To know.
Then I didn't know.
Yeah, didn't know. でも、本来は芸者というものが男の仕事でしたよ。
But?
Yep. 本来 means originally. Originally.
Originally, geisha is, you say, to you.
Yeah, this means toyumon. This means the thing. This thing, geisha. Otoku no shigoto deshita yo.
Something with work, but.
otoko no. Otoko means. Is that the international sign language for man, Andre?
Ah, okay.
No, maybe.
I just can imagine that geisha is just the word for doing it as a work, but I'm not sure if it's
geisha to you know. So the term, this actually means the term geisha means, and then otoko no shigoto. I think I even know this in German, actually.
I don't know.
Okay, so Sophie, otoko no shigoto.
Serving the man.
Not serving the man, just
working for them.
Not working for them. It means men's work. Men's work.
Men's work.
Yeah. So originally, geisha meant it was men's work, being an entertainer. And then, so Sophie, you're next. Honto desu ka? Sonna kimono mo kite imashita ka?
Is that so?
Sonna kimono mo kite imashita ka?
Sonna? I don't know. Sonna.
That kind of
clothes, kimono.
Mo kite imashita ka?
Also, kite wear.
Yep.
Do you wear?
Yes. Did they wear? Also, did they wear? Yeah. So it means, did the men also wear those kinds of kimono? And then Rieko goes, stop it! Yamete yo! Cool. Good. Guys, we've kind of run out of time, but I was going to finish with giving you a little bit of interesting information, which especially Pyeongtong and Naska might find entertaining. This is just some information I found out about geishas, because somebody asked me if geishas were basically prostitutes, and I said, no, not really. And then I went to look for the actual meaning of it. So I thought I would read you something which you might find interesting. There were considered to be many classifications and ranks of geisha, though some were colloquial or closer to a tongue-in-cheek nickname than an official ranking. Some geisha would sleep with their customers, whereas others would not, leading to distinctions such as kuruwa geisha. Yes, you heard that correct. It's actually kuruwa geisha. A geisha who slept with customers as well as entertaining them through performing arts. Yujo, prostitute, and joro, whore, geisha, whose only entertainment for male customers was sex, and machi geisha, who did not officially and in reality sleep with customers at all. So the kuruwa, this means neighborhood geisha, kuruwa geisha. They're ones who did sleep with them. And then there was a class of geisha which were just basically only there for prostitutes.
So like prostitutes, full-time entertainer, and escort girl that will only escort you to the door, basically.
Exactly.
Right? Yeah.
Yes. Yeah, exactly.
Is the machi geisha one who makes you wait then?
I think that means town geisha.
She's not just for the neighborhood, but the entire town.
Yes. Okay. Do you guys want to do one more paragraph of the love couples? Yeah. Okay. Let's do it. I need a bit more enthusiasm, guys. Come on.
Yay!
Yatta!
Yatta!
I'm waiting.
Yeah.
Yarimashou ne.
Yarimashou. Okay, so I will ask Joseph to be Kenji and Taya to be Rieko. And while we're doing this, I've also made some slides to give you a feeling that you're in Gion seeing this at the time. Just a second. Thea and Joseph. So you guys can have a look at that for a second while I prepare the Moonlit Serenade. Ooh, did it work? Are you seeing the slideshow now? Yeah.
These are the dark alley that it used to be.
Oh, well, this is, this is actually Guion, as you should see it without being dragged into a dark alley. Okay. Joseph Thea, dozo.
さてさて、レストランに行きましょうか。
I think this is さてさて。
さてさて。レストランに行きましょうか。もうそろそろ時間ですね。
はい、そうですか。じゃあ、行きましょ
すぐ近くです。5分ほどかかりません。
う。何というの名前でしたか？
ギオンタントです。
でしたっけ I think.
でしたっけ？
Yeah. Is that what I've written?
Yeah.
It's, yeah.
Okay.
ギオンタントです。
ああ、了解。お腹が空いていますか？
寝てからお腹がペコペコです。リエコちゃんは？
私も空いていますよ。
Already? Hey. Good. Okay, good. Let's go back.
短いですよね。
Mijikai? Well, I tried to break it into bits, otherwise people start to lose the will to live. Okay, once more, a little bit slower, guys.
さてさて、レストランに行きましょうか。もうそろそろ時間ですね。
はい、そうですか。じゃあ、行きましょう。
すぐ近くです。5分ほどかかりません。
何というの名前でしたっけ？
ギオンタントです。
ああ、了解。お腹が空いていますか？
寝てからお腹がペコペコです。リエコちゃんは？
私も空いていますよ。
よかったね。
Okay.
お腹が私が空いていますか？
No, no, the funny part was the face of Thea.
Echi dayo.
Sweet hair.
I am so empty.
Tell me, please.
Okay, last time, guys. Uber Slolan.
さてさて、レストランに行きましょうか。もうそろそろ時間ですね。
はい、そうですか。じゃあ、行きましょう。
すぐ近くです。5分ほどかかりません。
何というの名前でしたっけ？
ギオンタントです。
ああ、了解。お腹が空いていますか？
寝てからお腹がペコペコです。リエコちゃんは？
私も空いていますよ。
Stop it. Dirty girl.
You're making it so dirty.
You're going to destroy my rating on YouTube at this rate.
Ooh.
Ooh, no, you're going to get demonetized.
Oh, dear.
Sorry, just a lack of sleep.
Okay, cool. Right, Jock. さてさて、レストランに行きましょうか。もうそろそろ時間ですね。
I don't know sate sate.
I think this also kind of means well.
Well, okay.
Yeah.
Let's go to the restaurant. It's getting on for time.
Yeah, exactly. Let's go to the restaurant. Or shall we go to the restaurant? Restaurant. More soro soro jikan desu ne. So more soro soro. It's not onomatopoeia soro soro, but it's one of those kind of sound meanings that Łukasz talked about.
It's getting close to time.
Yeah, sort of kind of like times are turning, isn't it?
Mm. It's getting on for time.
Yeah. Cool, good. Kim. Hi, so desu ka? Ja, ikimashou. Oh, you struck easier this time.
Yes. Let's do that. Or that's it. It is. Isn't it?
Hi, so desu ka?
Isn't it? Yes.
Yes, isn't it?
Isn't it?
Yes, it is. Isn't it? Yeah, exactly. Is it? Isn't it? Something. Yeah, ikimashou.
Let's go.
Yeah, that's good. Good. Cool. Effie, すぐ近くです。5分ほどかかりません。
It's very close.
Yep.
5 minutes. かかります used to mean cost. Wait, how much does it cost? Or like it will last? So like 5 minutes.
I will last 5 minutes. Is what Kenji's saying.
It's kakarimasen, so he won't last 5 minutes.
I'm saying, don't worry, it'll only last 5 minutes.
We got the dirty twist we all wanted. But like, so it's let's say 5 minute walk.
Yeah, so 5分ぐらいかかります would mean it takes about 5 minutes, but 5分
It doesn't even take.
Yes, exactly. It won't even take 5 minutes.
No.
Exactly.
But hodo is a specific meaning something? Hodo?
Remember when we did nohoga and yori? So hodo was used for negatives, wasn't it? To say, for example, I'm not as tall as Kim. I would say, 私が Kim-san ほど背が高くないです. So this is now saying it won't even take as long as 5 minutes. 5分ほどかかりません.
It's also one of these Spanish martial arts with a stick.
Yes, with a stick that you, bit of hodo. Yeah, exactly.
Getting worse and worse.
Pyeongdong, なんというの名前でしたっけ?
I think it will be something like, what did you say the name was?
Yeah, exactly. What did you say the name was?
So what's the ke?
So this is, you can use this in place of ka to mean what was it? What was it? Nandeshitake? What was that noise? Sono oto wa nandeshitake? What was that noise? Yeah. Instead of saying nandeshitaka, it's like saying, asking it again. What was it again? What was it again? Yeah. What did you say it was again? Nandeshitake? And then I'm not going to ask you for that one. And Andre, ryokai, onaka ga suitemasu ka?
Understood. Are you hungry?
Are you hungry? Onaka ga suiteimasu ka? And then Tom, nete kara onaka ga peko peko desu.
The nete is from Nemo?
Yep, good.
But then from because I'm sleep? No? Nete kara from sleep?
Yeah, so this, if you stick this in the middle of the sentence, it means I slept in the past, and this is joined using the tefel. So it's a bit like saying because I slept rather than because I slept.
Yeah, because they first in the hotel took a nap.
Yeah, exactly.
So she's hungry because she slept. Well,
because I slept. Yeah, exactly. So this, now we do have some onomatopoeia, peko peko.
Yeah, so I want to eat.
Yeah.
I want to fill my tummy.
Yeah. Ooh.
I want to eat.
Stop it, Taya.
And then he asks if she also wants to eat. Yeko-chan also.
Yes. Right. And then Konstantina, 私も空いてますよ.
I'm also hungry. But,
It's your tummy calling.
Oh, sorry. Hungry, not empty. But it does mean empty. Good.
Sensei, could you interpret netakara as in from the moment I slept, or from
so
sleeping?
It basically means nemashita kara. But if you put nemashita kara in the middle of the sentence, this is basically a complete verb, isn't it? And it just kind of like puts a great big load of wording in the middle of a sentence when you want it to flow nicely. So instead of saying nemashita kara, you can just turn this into the te form to join it, to make it a joining.
Yeah.
So, and it's now like a reason because I slept.
Okay.
Yeah.
But because if you make it the te form to make it flowing, then I would assume that somewhere there is an implication that it's past, but there isn't.
Yeah, it's just read into it, really.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, basically, this is giving a reason why he's hungry.
Yeah. Okay. Cool. Thank you.
Okay.
Andy?
Yeah, Jock.
Before we split up, could you just remind everyone of Louis Vitalis's question and answer Zoom session?
Yeah. Also, Elaine asked me to mention this.
There is a passcode to enter the meeting as well now. It has been sent around.
Yeah. So guys, in your... Is that you jumped off again? Sorry, give me a second. Let me just mute everybody for a second. Oh, it seems to have worked. Okay. So let me give you the dates, guys. On Friday. Next Friday, isn't it? Yeah, Friday the 12th of March.
In the evening sometime.
Yeah, from 8 till 9 Holland time. And then I'll just post this on the Andy's Japanese Corner group.
Is the group private? As in only available, the info is only available to members?
No. It's an open thing for people.
No, I mean the ANC group, the Facebook group. Is that private?
Yes,
I believe so.
It is. Yeah. Oh, so it doesn't get invaded, you mean? Yeah, it's private. Yeah. So I'll post that in there. So it's a kind of Q&A with Louis, and if you want to ask any questions about stuff that doesn't normally get spoken about, it's best if you can provide your question in advance. And on the stuff that I'll post, it's got the link to posting your questions.
So if all went well, Elaine sent a follow-up email about an hour ago.
Mum.
You have, okay.
Yeah, and I'll post it. I'll post it. Yeah.
It should be fun.
It's free to listen to, eh?
One more time, Tom.
You could also just listen, eh?
Yes.
And the topic is general, or because I don't know anything about this.
Not for techniques and stuff like that, but kind of philosophy.
Okay.
And history.
History, yeah.
In fact, he specifically asked to not ask technical questions, so please don't ask anything about how to do a technique. He won't answer for good reason. Yeah.
But is this open for everyone who's interested? Okay.
Yes. Yeah, for sure. I'll post it on the Facebook group after this. Cool. Thanks, guys. See you soon.
Thank you, Andre. It was
Thank you very
awesome.
much. My pleasure.
Arigatou gozaimasu.
Arigatou.
Matane. お疲れ様でした。
さて。
ありがとうございました。
お誕生日おめでとうございます。
私が空いています。
This is still being recorded.
俺のサーセージをこうやって。